So on our warm up, okay, this was what we did on the notes yesterday, that you should be able to solve for y, so that way you can graph an equation. Okay. Now, 1 is up here. Let's try 2. Again, what is always my first step to solve for y? X has to go to the other side, and I do the opposite. So what's the opposite of minus 8x? Plus 8x on both sides. Please remember, these two do not combine, right? I like to draw myself a little arrow to remind myself that the 8x goes in front of the negative 10, or the minus 10. Okay, so I bring down 2y equals, what do I write first? Okay, following along. 8x, and then minus 10 after that. You could put plus negative 10, either way. Okay. Now, any questions so far? I got rid of the x by doing the opposite. I put it in the right place. Last step is always, how do I get rid of a coefficient? Always divide, right? Always. No matter if it's positive or negative, okay? So we divide everything by that number. So y equals 8 over 2 is 4x minus 10 over 2. What's 10 over 2? Please focus. 10 over 2 is 5, so that's minus 5. And when you're graphing, you usually need rise over run, right? So 4 over 1 or 4, either way, okay? Number 3. Again, we got to get rid of the x first. How do I get rid of the negative 3x? What's the opposite of negative 3x? Adding, or plus 3x, both sides. Now let me tell you what I see people mess up on. People see 7 plus 3x and they put 10 or 10x. I cannot combine things that are not like terms, right? Is everyone looking right here? Looking? So again, 3x goes in front of the 7. That's why I write my arrow, to remind myself, okay? So I bring down what? Yeah. So don't forget the negative in front of it. So negative 4y equals 3x plus 7. Cool? Last step. What's always my last step? How do I get rid of this number in front of y? Divide. It's always divide, and by the exact same thing, right? Number 3. So divide by negative 4. Everything divided by negative 4. What was the question? Okay. Now, these cancel out. Y equals, now, 3 over negative 4. If you have a negative sign, that's a negative fraction, okay? So it's a negative 3 over 4. X. And 7 divided by negative 4, you can leave it as minus 7 over 4. Or the decimal would be negative 1.75. Usually you don't see a fraction and a decimal in the same thing. Usually it's one or the other, okay? But, there you go. Now, you got to be able to solve for y. You have to, okay? If you did any of the notes yesterday, you would see that there's some equations that you need to graph. And in my humble opinion, the easiest way to graph is if you know the slope and the y-intercept. If you have it in mx plus b, you know the slope and the y-intercept, right? So, what I want to do is make sure that we've actually finished the notes from yesterday. So can everyone get out your notes from yesterday? I'm going to give you the assignment, but I want to make sure you have the notes done. So we're going to go over these notes. So we're going to recap these notes. Does everyone have the one with the Snoop Dogg on the top right? I mean, the Snoopy Dog. Yeah, the Snoopy Dog. Now, if you don't have this, let me know so I can get you the blank version. Does anyone not have this Snoopy Dog one? Okay. There's also an assignment for this. If you weren't here yesterday, it's in the blue bin. That one has 3 pumpkins on it with a Woodstock little bird, yellow bird thing. Okay? Now, real quick, let's talk about this. So everyone's looking up here. Notes, right? Do you know how to write a parallel equation? Okay? So let me explain how to do it right now. Everyone's paying attention. Do you have your notes from yesterday? That's what I asked. As soon as everyone has their notes out, we can start. So let's get our notes out, or I can give it to you. Do you have the notes? Okay, so looking at this. Hopefully you can see the top part, but if you can't, all right, so what does it say here? For parallel lines, if I have this equation right here, I keep the slope, but I change the y-intercept, okay? So is everyone looking? Looking. This slope is negative 4 over 5x. What's my new slope? The same exact thing, negative 4 over 5x. Do you see how I did that? My y-intercept, though, needs to change. So instead of 3, I put some number. You can put a different number. Maybe Miss Murrow yesterday did a different number than 5. Doesn't matter, as long as it's a different number, right? Now, when I graph both of these over here, it should look parallel. Now, do we know how to graph an equation? If you don't, by hand. Okay, so I'm going to show you right now. So, mx plus b, what do y'all think? Do I graph m first or b first? Okay, so you graph b for beginning. You begin at the b. So check it out. Negative 4 over 5x plus 3, I need to put a point right there at 3. If you haven't done the notes yet, you can do this right now with me, okay? Right? You want to do this with us? So put a point at 3. Now, once I have that point at 3, once I have my point at 3, I'm going to do my slope, negative 4 over 5. Now, negative means it's going to go rise over run. Rise which way, up or down? Negative means down. So negative, it's kind of weird, right? Rise down, doesn't make sense, but vertically rising down 4, and your run is always to the right, okay? Think of an old school Mario game. You're always running to the right, okay? Technically, sometimes it's not, but whatever. So again, you rise up or down, but you run to the right. So that means down 4, right 5. So that's what I did. From here I went down 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I ran 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you can put those 2 points, right, everybody in the back, then you can put those 2 points and graph it using your straight edge of a protractor. So again, your lines should always be straight. Cool? So graph that. Let's do it. You put a point at 3 on the y-axis, down 4, right 5, put another point, and connect them. Everyone should be doing this. Graph the first one at 3, graph the second one at 5 or some other number. And then same slope, down 4, right 5. I should see 2 perfectly parallel lines. So I'm going to come see it right now. So we should have graphed the first two. I should have to tell you 3 times. The bottom part, you had to solve it first. So again, here's the bottom part. You had to solve it first. Again, we did this on our warm-up. Take this, I rewrote it over here, and I solved it. Get rid of the x, add 4x to both sides, put it in front, and then there's nothing in front of y, so you're done. 4x minus 5, and put the 4 over 1, right? Y'all know a whole number is always over 1? All right. Say what? Positive. For which one? So we added 4x, so it's a positive 4x. So again, same slope, different y-intercept. They look parallel even if they're really close together, right? So we're going to flip it to the back. So next thing we need to know is perpendicular, okay? Bless you. I want to show you something real quick. perpendicular. Now, perpendicular, this time instead of leaving the slope, it's going to change the slope. So is everyone looking at this? Okay? Looking up here. On the back of your notes, this is not on the back, but this is an example. How do I get a perpendicular slope? So on our notes, it says that we flip the slope and change the sign. So on this example, if I flip 2 over 3, what do I get? So the perpendicular, 3 over 2, right? I flipped it over. And then this one's positive, so what should this one be? Negative. Negative 3 over 2 is a perpendicular slope. So look at this. If this says negative 3 over 4, what's perpendicular for negative 3 over 4? Positive 4 over 3. So that's why I wrote right here, positive 4 over 3x. And this time, the y-intercept doesn't have to change. Okay? So you can write this at the top of the backside. Okay? So again, on the back of your notes, you have to know how to do perpendicular. You should, from Algebra 1, this is a refresher, right? You flip the slope and change the sign. If you don't do both of those, it's not going to look perpendicular. It's going to look like something else, okay? So does everyone understand? Everyone in the back, that you have to flip the fraction and change the sign for perpendicular. Okay? So even if it's not in y equals, you can solve for y, get your equation, and then do the opposite reciprocal. That's the other way of saying it. So this is the back of your notes. Make sure you have the back of your notes done right. Let's see that, okay? So again, you're getting this down if you didn't get it yesterday.